Hello, beautiful moms. My name is Sharice Walker, and I am beyond thrilled to welcome you to the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire one another. I am so excited to share my personal journey with you, as well as the personal journey of others, and to show you that anything is possible if you set your heart and mind to it. We are all Unbreakable Mompreneurs, and we are in this together. Today, we are going to explore the topic of, it's one that's close to my heart and many ambitious mothers out there, which is building a support system. And I apologize. I've been super sick with the COVID. And so I figured I wanted to get an episode out instead of missing a week. And so being a mompreneur is a rewarding yet challenging journey. I'm sure we all agree on that. But as we navigate the demanding terrain of running businesses while raising our families, having a robust system that's a support system becomes paramount. Me being in bed for the last week is a perfect example of that. That had it not been for my husband, for my children, for my lenders, all the different people professionally that I have that are working for me and working with me, and even neighbors to bring dinners because I was too sick to even get out of bed. And so having that support system is paramount. And so what does a support system really mean for a mompreneur? It's not just about having someone to lean on emotionally, but it's also building a network that understands the unique challenges and triumphs of our dual roles. So why is having a support system crucial for mompreneurs? Well, it's not just about sharing the load. It's about creating an ecosystem that fosters growth, resilience, and success. Whether it's family, friends, or fellow mompreneurs, a solid support system can provide encouragement, advice, and even open doors to new opportunities. And I think it's important to know that we have to make sure that we're a support system for other people as well, because if it's all just about us and we take, then in my opinion, that's quite selfish, and you have to be able to spread the love, right? So how do you build the support system? Let's get practical here. How do you go about building something that you feel like you might not, some of us are more introvert like me. Others are a lot more extrovert, and so they don't have a problem. They can have 20 people. I saw a neighbor of mine had her daughter got married, and her daughter, no joke, had 18 bridesmaids, okay? And then I'm looking at another where I help somebody do their marketing for a reception, and they had 2 bridesmaids. And so there's a huge range of personalities of people, and some people need to have a ton of people just because that's what they need, while others are good with a couple. But a couple doesn't get you very far when it comes to a support system. I remember when I was a single mom, and it became a huge neighborhood endeavor for me because I had to take, I think I talked about this earlier in a podcast, but I had to take one of my daughters went to one house, my son went to another place, another daughter, and then that daughter, one of them, she went on Tuesdays and Thursdays to this neighbor, and on Mondays, Wednesdays to this neighbor, on a Friday, this neighbor. And so, you have to be able to have a support system that you can trust. So it starts with identifying your needs and communicating them to your inner circle. So at the time, I didn't want anybody to know that I was separated. So I just said, hey, my husband has to go help his father up north for a while. So I need some help for a little bit. And then obviously I came clean later, but I truly was hoping that I'd be able to work things out with my husband at the time, which we didn't. So identify your needs. What do you need? Is it childcare? Is it foods, meal prepping? Is it transportation? What do you need to be able to have for your children? I had another neighbor that came over at 9:00 every night to help me put my kids to bed because, again, 2 special needs kids, it was hard to get them to calm down, so she'd come over. So you can't be afraid to ask for help or share your aspirations. And then also, hey, this is what I want to accomplish I want to be able to flip 30 homes by next year. So in order to be able to do that, that's 2.5 homes a month. I have to make sure that I have the support system to be able to do it professionally as well. So what can you do? There's lots of local mompreneur groups or women's groups. You can attend networking events, online communities. That's a huge place. Facebook or Instagram groups and people like that. There's a huge resource of people there. But the key is to be proactive and intentional about cultivating connections. Okay, so for all of you little introverts right now, you're like, I'm not doing that. Wait till you get sick. Wait till you go through a divorce. You have to have people. I'm one of those that I don't have a lot of close friends, or I don't go out with a huge group of people. But the fact that I had some women in my neighborhood that I knew I liked and I trusted was huge for me. So building a support system may sound ideal, but it's not easy. So there's some challenges that you can face, including time constraints and the pressure to do it all. I remember we had a co-op group where there was a whole bunch of women in our neighborhood, and I actually love this idea, and it's only been replicated in that one neighborhood, which was not my favorite neighborhood, which is funny because when all of our kids were young, we all got along, but when they started to get older, I don't know what happened, but they became mean girls. And so, but in the beginning, we each got a certain amount of money. It was Monopoly money. And this is how I was able to get out of my comfort zone, to be honest with you. And so if this is something where you love to organize things, this might be for you. But you gave each other like $60 Monopoly money. We started at the beginning of the year, and that could be the school year or in January. And then we all signed up. So like Thursdays from 8 to noon, it was a drop-in daycare basically at my house. So any mom could drop their kids off, and they could come pick them up. And for every hour that they stayed, that was a dollar through the Monopoly money. And so you just charged them $1 for that. So basically it's free. So you're doing service, and the kids got to play with each other in the neighborhood. So they got to know each other pretty well. And then the moms could go and take care of the things that they needed to. So it was incredibly useful, and I loved that. So it was just co-op babysitting. And so you could set your limit for, you set your price that it's $2 per kid or it's $5 a kid, whatever you wanted to do. But the co-op was fantastic. So you could earn more money that way. So if that means you needed to pick up another shift so that you could afford more money so that you could use it later, you could do that. But overcoming, it has to be a mindset shift, because a lot of us are taught that it's not okay to ask for help. And so I love to serve other people. I don't really like to ask for help, but I have been down in bed for over a year of my life in the last 12 years. And so learning to ask for help and accept help has been huge. Between all my hip surgeries and my broken legs and my children that I've had, it's been a rough, rough time. And so being able to accept the help is critical. And I do think it blesses other people, and you get to know each other better. So a strong support system isn't a sign of weakness, but it's actually a strategic move towards success. So to inspire you, I wanted to kind of talk to you about some of the things that I've gone through a little more. When I was home, well, I had been married to my husband, I think 2 years, or not even that long. But I decided, because he's this big motorcycle guy, so I decided to take a motorcycle class. And at the very last curve, because I have horrible test anxiety, I passed the class, except for I just had to finish this literally a little curve, and then I would pass. And next thing I know, I'm like going over and tipped with this motorcycle laying on top of me, and both my knees. I don't even know how I did it, but somehow I fell and it scraped up both my knees, and then the motorcycle landed on my foot. And so I ended up breaking my foot in 3 different places, and it took a solid 6 months to recover, and lots of doctors. Just horrible, horrible experience. And so for me to be able to even be on my foot for very long, it instantly turned seriously the color of a plum almost, with just deep, deep purple. Is ugly. And so I could not do dishes. I could not cook. I had a hard time driving. It was my left foot, not my right. But I still had to go to work. And so when I'd go to work, my foot had to be up and elevated. And then I'd come home. And then I was doing 3 days a week of physical therapy, plus going to a whole bunch of different doctors trying to figure out what was going on. And so there was a army of women in my neighborhood that were amazing, that brought dinners in, that came and cooked, that came and cleaned. It's just, I never thought that would happen. When I was pregnant with my twins, I was down in bed for 4 months, 16 weeks of bed rest. I went preterm labor. Monday of my 21 weeks, I went into preterm labor, was hospitalized for a week, and I was able to save them, but I was down in bed for 16 weeks total. So again, an army of people in my neighborhood. And where I'm at in my culture, it's very common for women to get together and help other women, and not everybody has that. So I'd encourage you to reach out to people in your neighborhood, or people in your community, people in your church. For me, my church was my lifeblood. And so that's something that has been super important to me. So just making sure that you have that support system is critical, and something that, like I said, it's hard to do, but there's so many different ways. So the co-op is one of them. Setting up a group of just women, like-minded women who enjoy things. I often think about this because my husband's notorious. He's a huge hunter. He's a huge fisherman. And so all he has to do is talk about fishing or hunting or hiking, or boating with people. And there's instantly a group of men that after he talks or something, they came and say, oh, we want to do this, or hey, let's go fishing, or hey, let's go do this. So I often think, okay, what are some of the activities that we as women can do that don't take a long time, don't spend, or, cost a lot of money, but we can do together? And so you see these local book clubs. You see like craft night, or making a cake night, or game night. So it's just hosting different things and starting with maybe 1 or 2 things, and then seeing if they take off. And if they don't, try another 1 or 2 things. And then from there, you can figure out what you need to do. So to conclude today's episode, remember, as a mompreneur, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. Build your support system, embrace the collective strength of like-minded individuals, and watch as your business and your family thrive. And oftentimes this will lead to more referrals as well. So I wish you the best and good luck.
Remember, my beautiful moms, you are unbreakable. Keep shining, pursuing your dreams, and embracing the magic of motherhood. This is Sharice Walker signing off from the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Have a great day.